All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another UFC, pay-per-view slash free card pre-fight show. We're gonna be talking about the the Ultimate Fighter 21 finale card on Sunday, and of course UFC 189 going down today or tonight. With me today, Jesse Ruvalcaba, who's actually out in Vegas right now. How crazy is that? I know you went to the weigh-ins for 189. Just tell the folks exactly how it went for you.
Man, I've been to a couple different weigh-ins. The Brock Lesnar one when he fought Alistair Overeem, but I don't think I've ever been to anything like that. That was like a totally different experience, man. Like, I haven't even watched it like in a replay, but I don't think it gave it justice. While you were in there, the energy, the vibe, it was crazy. Like Joe Rogan came out and he was like, "What is this? Ireland or something or Dublin?" He thought he was in Dublin. I mean, it was crazy. It was one of the probably like I would have said anybody that was in Vegas and didn't try to go, you're a sucker. That was one of the best experience ever.
Yeah, I mean, watching it online, dude, it got crazy loud. Of course, all the Irish fans that are there at the moment, and I mean, anytime anyone from Ireland, Neil Seary, Pendred, even when Gunny Nelson went up, but when Conor McGregor went in there, they had a picture from behind him, right? So they had him flexing on the scale, and just like thousands of people in there, and it looked like freaking. The Irish just took over the place, and it was loud as hell. And I know the video you sent us in the chat was crazy, dude. That shit was loud.
Yeah, it was super loud. Everybody was on their feet. Everybody's cheering, flags everywhere. I mean, I was sitting next to some guy who said he was a Mendes fan, and he was like, man, he was basically going to keep it to himself because he was afraid he was going to get lynched over there. It was crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to be too loud if you're a Mendes fan at all. But real quick on that, did you get to see the bottle that was thrown at Mendes when Rogan was talking to him?
No, I didn't. I couldn't. I really couldn't see from where I was. I mean, I think you saw in the chat. Like, I got there probably at like maybe like 3:15, and one of my friends that actually works for the UFC was telling me that there was people lined up at 10 in the morning to go to the weigh-in.
Oh, no way. It's hot as shit in Vegas right now. I'm not standing out there. So anyway, all right. Well, hey, if you didn't see it, if anyone that is wondering what I'm talking about, just go watch the replay of the weigh-ins at the very end where Rogan's talking to Chad. Some shit gets thrown up on stage, and I'm not really sure what it was, but I was wondering if you got to see it live. All right. Well, let's actually talk real quick about the Ultimate Fighter, the finale card first. Which isn't it's not a huge card. I call it a hangover card. It's what you want to watch after a big night of fights, and tonight should be. So actually just a couple fights to talk about on the card itself. One that we do want to talk about is definitely the debut of Michelle Waterson into the UFC against Angela Magana. Michelle Waterson, former Invicta champion at atomweight, 105 pounds, moving up to strawweight in order to enter the UFC, taking on Angela Magana, who needs a win probably more than anybody else in the division. How do you see this fight going down? And do you think this is a kind of I mean, I don't want to say it's a gimme fight for Michelle, but I think Michelle's a much higher caliber fighter than Magana. What do you think?
You won't say it, but I will then. Yeah, it's pretty much a gimme fight. I mean, Magana, she seems like, I guess personally, as a person herself, she's a nice person, but her personality just, I think, rubs everybody pretty much the wrong way. And I think everybody kind of wants to see her just, get her face beaten. That's pretty much what's probably going to happen here. Michelle Waterson, she's a really tough chick. She's got that striking down, and she's evolved. That's the other thing. I mean, she has evolved. And she's not going to be losing as much weight to cut down all the way to, what was it, 105 that she was at before? So, I mean, yeah, I think the only difference, the only thing that might be to her disadvantage here is the fact that Magana is, the bigger one, but I really think, yeah, this is going to be kind of like a coming out party for Waterson here. So it should be a good fight, I think. But tough thing for Magana to have to deal with, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, and even then, like if you look at the height difference, Michelle Waterson's got 2 inches on Magana, which I thought was incredible. I thought for sure Waterson would be shorter and smaller, but definitely, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's a gimme fight, and I think it's gonna be Magana getting walking papers after Sunday. But You know, let's see it play out. But we keep talking about the evolution of fighters. Michelle Watterson definitely in that category of fighters that evolve and keep growing with the sport. So I'm excited to see what she does in the UFC for sure. All right, another fight we could talk about here: Maximo Blanco against Mike De La Torre. You know, it's two guys that will slug out. You know, they throw bombs. You know, but De La Torre does have a submission game to him. What do you think on this fight?
It's a tough one for me. Both of these guys, they're exciting fighters, but the thing is that they're forgettable in a lot of their fights. You know, they have some very very good fights here and there, like peppered into their record, but that's the problem. You know, they're so inconsistent, both of them. You know, when I was quickly getting this one together, and my wife was writing down the names. She said Maximo Blanco. Okay, I remember him. You know, he's got some really exciting fights. He's got some good striking on him. You know, he likes to go for it. And then De La Torre, it took me a few minutes to figure out who he was. You know, and then I started remembering. Oh, okay, you know, he's got some potential there, but he's so inconsistent is the problem. And I think that's the problem here with this fight. Both of these guys, inconsistent fighters. But I'm thinking Blanco is the one that's going to pull this one out here. He seems to be the one with more of the more seasoned striking. You know, he does like to just go for an and bang, but he's the one that kind of picks his shots a little bit more, is a little bit more measured sometimes until he gets, you know, too much damage. Then he kind of goes a little too wild and, you know, ends up getting hurt. But I think that's what we're looking at here is kind of a shoot 'em out type of fight.
Yeah, and speaking of the two guys, they're actually about to weigh in right now. So I have the weigh-ins on my phone right here next to me on the screen. So they're about to walk up to the actually De La Torre's going first, but I don't see Mike De La Torre getting any kind of submission and honestly stopping Blanco whatsoever. I think if De La Torre is to win, I think it's going to be by kind of a lucky decision, I guess. But I'm with you. Maximo Blanco should get this win. I'm thinking TKO. Not exactly sure what round it would be, but I'm thinking Blanco would get it that way. All right, another fight to talk about on this card here is Jorge Masvidal against Cesar Ferreira. Ferreira, obviously, I talked about him before, is Vitor Belfort's protege, if you want to say, you know, call him that. However, kind of a, you know, not want to say embarrassing, but kind of a sad loss against Sam Alvey over at UFC Fight Night 61, Bigfoot versus Mir. It was a knockout punch, I think, first round. Yeah, first round. What do you think of Ferreira taking on someone like Masvidal, whose striking is good, but Masvidal also lost his last fight against Ali Quinta, and a decision I disagreed with, right? That decision that Ali Quinta took, I thought Masvidal won that fight. Now we got two guys that like to throw hands. You know, Ferreira very explosive, Masvidal high output kind of guy. What do you think about this fight?
I see. The thing is that again, another person. Masvidal, so inconsistent. I mean, that guy, he needs to just learn to be more consistent. You know, he likes to throw his hands around, and he's good at it. But in his last fight, you know, he was so, like, hesitant. Like, he didn't want to do what he needed to do to win that fight. He easily could have won, you know, any of those rounds very, very you know, like, it wouldn't have been a question in anybody's mind who won those rounds. But he's so, like, I don't know what it is. And it's not like we can say that he's got, like, a weak chin or it's a suspect chin, because he takes some hard shots and he just keeps going. Yet he's so afraid to really let go and just start throwing his hands. So I really think that this is going to be a step up, a big step up, I think, for Ferreira or Fajeda. And I think that the problem is I just think that it might be too much of a test at this point for Fajeda to step up here against such a seasoned striker, like you said, in Masvidal. I think this should be the type of fight that Masvidal really shows off how good of a striking game he has. And unfortunately, I'm just not as high as a lot of people on Fajeda being a Vitor, you know, a guy that's being brought up by Vitor, you know. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, we never know. Maybe one of those crazy kicks will come into play and put Masvidal out.
Yeah, and then real quick, because I was talking about the weigh-in for Maximo Blanco and De La Torre. De La Torre makes weight at 145.5, and Maximo Blanco comes in at 148.3 or something like that. So he missed weight pretty badly. And
Doesn't he always miss weight or has a problem making weight?
He's about to get bumped out to lightweight if you don't pay attention. Michelle Watterson making her way to the scales as we speak, and goddamn looking good doing it. And anyway, let's talk. Nick Pilecki joining us on the show. Nick, we were just talking about Jorge Masvidal against Cesar Pereira. What do you think about that fight?
I like the fight. I'm thinking Masvidal is the guy that he doesn't push the trigger as much that I think he does. He has the potential, but he hasn't done it recently. But Ferreira, he's the great fighter coming up, and I think actually Ferreira is going to take that one, just because he's hungry for it and he wants it more.
Yeah, and I was not kidding about Michelle Watterson looking damn good doing it. Wow, you need to look up her picture. Anyway, yeah, sorry. All right, so yeah, let's move on here to the main event of the night, or of the top 21 card, which is Jake Ellenberger taking on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Jake Ellenberger, number 9 ranked welterweight. Jake Ellenberger actually, as I'm pulling up his record right here, I believe he's got a few losses put together right here. Actually, well, his last fight was a win against Josh Koscheck. Before that, losses to Kelvin Gastelum, Robbie Lawler, and Rory McDonald. None of those guys are pushovers at all. But does that? I mean, let's starting with Jesse here. What do you think about Jake Ellenberger and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? Jake Ellenberger is a seasoned guy, he's 30-9. Stephen Thompson's 10-1. You know, are we seeing? Just like you were talking about the evolution. A guy that can still evolve and has been evolving like Stephen Thompson against a guy that really is kind of like an old dog that can't learn new tricks type of deal with Ellenberger. What do you think about this fight?
I think the problem is that we're looking at Ellenberger being thrown to the top competition a little too soon. And I think that this is just the right fight to see if he is overhyped or if he's, still able to maybe evolve a couple more fights and be in that range of being an elite fighter. So I think this could be, I really think this could be one of those fights where we look back and go, wow, this is a breaking out party for somebody. But that being said, for Ellenberger, I think this is an easy win for Wonderboy. I think just because we've seen Ellenberger get knocked out, we've seen he's very hittable, and he's not going to what he normally does is just pull the trigger and wrestle his way to victories. Really wear people down, really just be the juggernaut that he's supposed to be. And I think unless he implements that game plan in this fight, I think Thompson is gonna really piece him up and put a hurt on him. I don't want to see that, so I hope Ellenberger really makes this a good fight, exciting fight. But I'm gonna say Wonderboy here is gonna take this fight.
Yeah, and Ellenberger, one of those guys that just recently moved over to Ronda Rousey's fight camp over at Glendale Fight Club where their kind of their bread and butter is striking. So at least her head coach, and I hate that I can't remember his name, but that's kind of his thing.
Karabedian or something like that.
Yeah. So Edmund. There you go, Edmund. So Nick, what do you think about this? What's up?
Or if you go with what was it? The Misha Tate's group was saying that he was the Count from Sesame Street.
This motherfucker. All right, Nick, what do you think about the main event here? Jake Ellenberger, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Honestly, I'm really, really excited for this fight. I like Stephen Thompson a lot, and I like Jake Ellenberger a lot too. Like you said, he's that seasoned vet and everything. But I'm saying Stephen Thompson is gonna be a contender coming up soon. In my opinion, I'm gonna sound like Joe Rogan right now, but he has to be the greatest kickboxer in the UFC right now. He's 22-0 in his kickboxing career. He's a monster with his kicks. He throws his kicks with ease. It's easy for him. It's his bread and butter. And if you see him how he throws his kicks against his last opponents, it's super easy. It's just second nature for him. And Jake Ellenberger, yeah, he has that power. He has that wrestling base as well, but I don't think he can stop the kicks and the speed of Stephen Thompson. So I'm gonna go with Stephen Thompson with this one.
Real quick, Jorge Masvidal is on the scale, comes in at 172.5.
Oh.
How do you miss weight? If you're at 155 and you move down to you move up to 170, how do you miss weight? Wow, that's okay.
That's not good.
No, it's not. That's actually pretty fucking bad. I mean, he might have had he might have taken well, he did. He obviously took it way easier on the weight cut, so that makes no sense. He's gonna have to go in the back and burn off that last pound and a half to make that 171. I think 171 would be the
Yeah, 171.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that sucks. All right, moving on here to well, real quick, what I want to say about the main event here. I think it's gonna be Thompson's coming out party type of deal. He's in the main event. I think he's gonna finally come out and be that kickboxer Nick was talking about. Being one of the best. And I think this is Jake Ellenberger's the beginning of, not even the beginning, but the beginning of his decline, or the continuous of his decline in the UFC. He's got a lot of fights. He's got almost 40 fights, and professionally, he's one of those guys that's in my opinion is almost, done. You know what I mean? He's kind of getting left behind in that evolution that we keep talking about in MMA. So I'm taking Thompson to win knockout, unfortunately for Mr. Ellenberger. So, but I don't think they'll cut Ellenberger after this fight. I think they'll give him one more shot. If he loses that next shot, then it's kind of over for him. But that's gonna actually real quick, Nick. We were talking about Waterson against Magana. I know you're a Waterson fan as well. What do you think about that fight?
Waterson wins. I think she'll have those octagon jitters to begin with, like every UFC fighter does. She'll have that little bit, but she's gonna get in her groove and she's gonna start putting her work on Magana. So Michelle Waterson's gonna be. I think she'll be the contender too for the 115 pound. But we'll get into that if she wins tomorrow, which I'm pretty sure she will.
All right, so that's gonna do it for our TUF 21 preview. Let's get right on to tonight's UFC 189 card out of Vegas. It's a stacked card, like pretty much top to bottom. It's gonna be a hell of a night. If you're thinking about going out to a bar, either get there really early, or be smart and buy it with your friends at someone's house. 'Cause that's gotta be the way to do it. There's no way you can go to unless you want to be at a bar jam with people like sardines. Because my friend's dad was talking about the McGregor fight, this McGregor guy. He knows nothing about fighting. This is the first fight he ever talks about. When people that don't know jack squat and never watched a fight in their life is talking about watching tonight's fight.
Wait. Did Michael Graves just chug a Bud Light after weigh-in?
I didn't see it. Did he?
He just had a Bud Light can in his hand, and I think he just chugged that.
Oh.
That was awesome.
ATT,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway.
Good job.
Yeah. Haider Hassan from ATT from the TUF 21 show you're about to get on the scale. Probably like the only exciting guy in that entire season, to be honest with you. He knocked 2 dudes out. So anyway, moving on here, let's talk about the UFC 189 card. Early fight pass prelims start at 4 p.m. Pacific, so in about 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah. So 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, kicked off by Dennis Cedeno. The Pink Panther against Cody Fister, the Fist. Hell of a nickname, buddy. Jesse, what do you think about this matchup here, and how do you see it? I mean, it's a pretty damn good fight to start the whole card, right?
Yeah, you and I always talk about this. They always try to stack these cards, especially these big ones, with these fights that start exciting, have a little bit of interesting fights in the middle. They're looking to really have a wave riding right up to the main event, and I think this is a perfect fight here. Both of these guys really exciting. Lots of hands being thrown around here. I think that's what's going to happen here. What is it? Cedeno, he's 7 wins by knockout. I mean, the only problem is again what I always say, inconsistency. That's the problem. 1 and 2 in his last 3. And the people he's losing to, not that good. They're not good showings for him, and that's the problem. Fister, on the other hand, what was his last fight? It was in February, and he lost. So, I mean, both of these guys, it's not like they're coming in here trying to. I think they're both gonna come in here proving something, proving that they're still relevant, proving that they still got what it takes to stay in the UFC and continue on their journey. It was a tough fight for me to pick, but I think judging on how this fight starts the card, and from there on, I think we're gonna get a really good idea of who's gonna be going here. And since it's probably gonna be an Irish heavy crowd, I think Fister's gonna pick this fight, and I think that's the problem here. That for the most part, if it was just a normal crowd, I think you could really, divide it up and go by like how people are, their stats and everything. But I think this is just going to be almost like a home fight for a lot of these Irish guys. And I think that's what's going to affect a lot of these picks here.
All right, and honestly, I think Cedeño's going to go in there and knock Pfister out pretty bad. Pfister is, his last fight against Muntasiri was his first fight. He lost his first fight in the UFC, but I do agree with you. Jordanis has never shown any kind of consistency whatsoever. Just 2-1, lost his first fight, won his second, lost his third fight in the UFC against Chavez and I forgot the guy's name, but yeah, you're right. His losses were not against impressive guys whatsoever. So we'll see tonight if he gets some kind of streak going of consistency. Nick, what do you think about this fight? Is this the fight that you would have picked to start the whole card with?
Yeah, it's a good fight to start off the card with, especially the early prelims. But no, I think it's gonna be like you said. It's gonna be that quick fight. I think the Pink Panther's gonna end up knocking out Cody Pfister. Pfister, you have the Irish crowd. Yeah, you have that hype, but I think that hype's gonna hurt him in the end. He needs to focus on his skill more than the hype. If he does focus on his skill, then I think he can do it. But I think the hype's gonna for being an undercard and like trying to build yourself. I think that hype's gonna get him up there, and then he's gonna end up faulting at the end.
All right, so it's your first fight of the night here. Jordanis Cedeño against Cody Pfister, the Pink Panther against the Fist. After them, we get one of Ireland's heroes here, Neil Two-Tap Seery taking on Luis, the Last Samurai Smoka. Seery is a guy who came in on, I believe it was on the Dublin card. I think it was the Dublin card or the Boston card. Came in late notice, put on a hell of a show. Ended up losing the fight, I believe, but he's a damn hell of he's a fun guy to watch. He's a great fighter. Hell, after that first fight he had in the UFC, he had like 2 days later he had to go back to his warehouse job in freaking Ireland or wherever he lives. So, dude is a tough guy to come in and fight while having a full-time job. It's pretty much the reality of being a fighter these days. So, Seery against Smoka. Jesse, what do you think?
What was it? He's Seery has been off for like about 6 months since his last fight. It's hard for me here for me. Like I said, I think these two fights are really going to set up how the rest of the card's going to be. If that Irish background, if that Irish crowd is really going to push their guys to victory. The only thing I don't like about Seery is how many losses he has on his record. You look at his record. It's not good at all. 15-10, not good. You don't like having that many losses so soon in your career. What is he like? 6 knockouts, 5 submissions. So a little bit of well-roundedness there, but that many losses, it's a little too much. Against Luis Smoka, he's only had 1 loss. I think Smoka's going to take this fight. Like I said, the only thing that I can see changing that is that surge from the crowd really pushing Seery through to the end here. But I mean, if it's an early stoppage or something, no amount of crowd help is going to help Seery win this one. He might be able to grind one out maybe, but yeah, I'm going with Smoka here on this one.
All right, yeah, and I agree. Seery, I think, could win like a kind of a crappy decision. I mean, if we have those judges that get influenced by the crowd that we see a hell of a whole lot with these, kind of with so many UFC events and Bellator events and all those, we always see judges get kind of influenced by the crowd. So I think Seery could win a decision. I don't think he's gonna knock Smoka out. In fact, I think Smoka's gonna end up taking this fight. But with this kind of crowd, you never know what's gonna happen. Nick, what do you think about this fight?
I think it's going to be one of those drag-on fights for Neil Seery. I think Seery's going to drag out that win. Both of his wins in the UFC have been by decision, and he's just a grinder, man. He's that guy that will just grind out a win and everything like that. Smoka has won one fight by TKO. He is 8-1. He's a younger guy. He's a more ready guy. He's a guy that's ready to go, like more energy. But I actually think Seery's going to end up grinding out a very, very, very boring win. But I think Seery will take it.
All right, that's gonna do it for your early fight pass prelims. Again, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. After that, tune over to Fox Sports 1. You get Fox Sports 1 at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. First fight is I think it's gonna be an impressive performance for at least one of these guys. Cody No Love Garbrandt taking on Henry Brewer Briones. Garbrandt undefeated 6-0. 100% knockouts. This dude finishes fights. Jesse, what do you think about this fight?
Well, there are 2 picks here on the card that I'm just going off my heart. I mean, I just think that these guys have like interesting stories, and they just hit that right chord for me. Here it's Cody. That backstory, I don't know if you guys have heard it, of the little kid that's gonna walk out with him tonight, beat cancer. I mean, this is just all heart for me. I just want Garbrandt to get that win, here in the octagon, and have that kid walk him out and everything. But you look at this fight. I mean, this is a really razor close fight. I think both of these guys are coming to throw. Cody is the much more better striker. I'm gonna say, just because of his boxing record, his amateur boxing record, 32-1. That's impressive. I mean, this dude can strike. And of course now we know, 5 KO wins, doesn't go the distance. This fight is just going to be exciting to start off that Fox Sports 1 card.
Yep.
It's just going to be an exciting fight. I mean, both of these guys, they just like to throw. Someone's going to sleep for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree with that as well. Nick, what do you think about this fight?
I'm in the same boat. Someone's going to sleep in this fight, and I want Cody Garbrandt to get knocked out because he's dating my future wife. We'll get into that later. But I think he's going to knock him out, dude. Cody Garbrandt's a monster. He always wins by 100% knockout. He's a nice guy. He's genuine. He's a great. Like, I watched that same video that you're talking about, Jesse, about the kid going to walk him out tonight that beat cancer. That's awesome. I really do like that. But then again, he is a monster. So I'm going to go with Cody with the knockout.
Yeah, and I saw the same video you guys saw. I actually saw it this morning. Definitely, tugs the heartstrings and makes you want to cheer for Cody. I am also going to pick Cody. I mean, normally I would pick my home country brethren, but going as what do you call it, as unbiased as possible. It's look, Cody's got all the striking power, man, and watching Briones' previous fights, that guy gets himself in trouble a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Cody. Cody coming out big, and actually I'm gonna say this fight sets up the tempo for the rest of the card. If neither one of the Fight Pass ones do, this is the one that's going to do it. It's going to be Cody putting Briones to sleep with a massive punch and real quick knockout win in the first round. That's what I'm going to call. So, all right, moving on here to the next fight. We got Cathal Pendred coming in on short notice against John Doomsday Howard. I don't know about you guys, and we'll start with Nick on this one. I don't know about you, man, but when I heard Pendred was going to be given the fight, I was kind of like, shit, here we go. What do you think about this pairing? What do you think about this fight? How do you see it going?
I don't know. It's kind of like they're feeding an Irishman to a quote-unquote easy fight, in my opinion. But John Howard's not an easy fight, man. He has that power. He can put you to sleep whenever he wants to. It's just if he doesn't gas out. That's his only problem. But I got to go with Pendred on this one. I think the guy from Ireland's going to end up taking this. Howard like I said, he gasses out too quick. He just goes in, goes for it, and then he'll just end up not getting it out. I don't know. I like John Howard, but I don't think he's going to end up getting this win. If he does, I'll be happy, but I don't think he's going to end up getting his win. And he's on a 3-fight losing streak. So I honestly do think if he doesn't win this fight, he's out, and we'll see him in Bellator.
Yeah, and again, I'm still kind of bummed that Pendred's in there. I'm hoping we don't end up getting bored shitless. But what do you think, Jesse? What do you think about this fight?
I think this is the time you go up, grab some food, grab a beer, go check out what's happening on Twitter, because Pendred is just going to wrestle Howard to death here. Especially if he gets those takedowns, starts implementing that grinding, like kind of just wearing on him. John Howard can't last too long. His gas tank is just going to explode. There's going to be nothing left, and he's they might as well just have the contract ready for Bellator in the back of him. Just might as well, because the way he's been losing his last 3 fights, it's so disappointing. Especially with a nickname of Doomsday. I mean, they ain't no doom. It's just terrible. And yeah, I mean, they should have put this card this fight, somewhere else. They should have buried this fight, because I think this is not going to get the crowd going here. Maybe the Irish are going to be cheering all the way through this fight, but
yeah. Every time Pendred hugs them and shit, it's going to be a bunch of fuck yeah, ooh. We're
and
all
then
at home. Yeah, no, I agree with Jesse. This time you get up, you might maybe make a pass at your lady. I don't know. You have plenty of time. All Pendrick's gonna do is hump him on the ground. So, and Pendrick's gonna do that. He's gonna win the fight and get up and be like, "Well, what did I do wrong? What nobody likes me? Where's my bonus, Dana?" I'm like, "No, dude, you're born in dog shit. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that shit." So that's the thing about fighters. I like fighters that are good. I like fighters that win. I like fighters that fight, train hard and fight hard. I don't like fighters that complain about being disliked when their style is obviously boring. Like, fine, if you're gonna accept the fact that you're winning boring, fine, accept it, but accept everything that comes with it, and don't expect a Reebok deal or some kind of other shit to come with it because you get W's because all you're doing is hugging dudes to death. And I agree. His last fight in Mexico, that was just like, I don't know what the hell happened to Montaño or whatever the hell happened to that. That dude's just running, trying not to get taken down. But I think tonight's going to be like that. I think Pendrick's going to take Howard down, hug him to death, and win a very boring decision. So, again, get the hell away from the TV during this fight, unless you really are like that badly want to see Pendrick hug somebody the whole time. So that's that for that. That's for that fight. Then we get Mike Swick making his return to the cage. I think first time since 2012, I believe, against Alex Garcia, the Dominican Nightmare. Swick it's kind of a question mark at this point, right, Jesse? I mean, we don't know. I mean, we know he's been training in Thailand. He's got AKA Thailand working and everything, but he hasn't fought. Has he evolved? Has he grown? Has he diminished at all? Has he lost a step? What do you think? What do you think about Mike Swick against Alex Garcia? How do you see it going?
This is my other pick from the heart. I'm one of those guys that remember Swick back in the heyday when he was just running through people, just exciting fighter, had that striking that was just incredible, and then he kind of just fell off, and like you said, right now is the time that we're going to see whether he has learned something new, he has evolved. If he has, I mean, he was a beast back then, back in the old days, I mean, it's if you look at this fight, it's almost like they picked a guy with, a little bit of experience, kind of well-rounded, but, a tough enough fight to prove to see if Swick is good enough to stay here in the UFC for another run. I just want to see Swick just get this win and move on. I don't know if I want to see Swick, get knocked out or anything in this fight. I mean, it'll suck if I see him get knocked out. He's a really, really cool guy, really, really good fighter. So my heart pick, Swick. Alex Garcia, though, he's well-rounded enough to end this fight with a knockout submission. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a quick Swick fan as well, man. I'm hoping he wins this fight. It's just it's too much of a fucking question mark for me, right? To say he's gonna win, and feel comfortable, making that pick. This is kind of a question mark pick overall. I'm gonna take Mike Swick just because I like Mike Swick. Alex Garcia, he's a really tough dude, but Neil Magny took him to decision and beat him. So, and look, Neil Magny, we're not saying he's garbage or anything, but losing to Neil Magny decision isn't really the way to make a name for yourself in the UFC. And his last fight was in August of 2014, so a lot less of a layoff than Mike Swick. But I don't know, it's kind of a big, in the air fight for me. But I'm gonna take Swick on that one. What do you think? What do you think about this fight, Nick?
Again, I have to go with you guys. I think Mike Swick's going to take it. I think he has evolved as a fighter. I know he's been training in Thailand forever now, since his injury, and then he went to Thailand. He started training everything. I think he is going to be that evolved fighter that we all do really want to see, and I think this is going to be the Mike Swick that we're going to see for a while, and I think he's going to end up getting the win. And it's not going to be a boring decision when I believe that he's going to end up going for a sub or a TKO.
You know what? I'll tell you guys, though, at the weigh-ins, Swick got a lot of love from the crowd. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but, I mean, he's just a love guy in this sport. And I think that's one of the things that endears, all three of us. We could look at the stats and just kind of pick Garcia to win just because, he's that type of guy. He's younger. He's got more skills, like he's more well-rounded and stuff. You could pick Garcia, but I mean, none of us did. Why? Because we just like Swick so much better. He's one of those nice guys of the sport. So, I mean, I agree with you guys. We just want to see this win for him.
Yeah, hopefully it happens, man. All right, moving on to the last guy to beat Mike Swick, Matt Brown, number five ranked welterweight, taking on Tim Dirty Bird Means. Tim Means is making a name for himself these days. He's winning fights. He's putting on decent shows. Matt Brown is insane, as we've always known. Nick, what do you think about Matt Brown against Tim Means, and how do you see it going?
This fight's going to be, if not fight of the night, it's going to be a contender for fight of the night. This fight's going to be insane. They're just going to throw. They're going to go, they're going to throw, they're going to try to take each other's head off, and I don't think Matt Brown's going to end up taking it, though. I think Matt Brown's on his way out. He's been depleting a little bit that I see, but he is ranked number 5, man. He is still a monster, but I think that it's that evolution that we were talking about. He's coming off 2 losses, one against Robbie Lawler. It's Robbie Lawler, and one against Johnny Hendricks. But I think that he hasn't evolved with these new fighters like Robbie Lawler has or anyone else. So I think he's end up getting either taken out or losing to a decision.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I like Matt Brown a lot. I think Matt Brown's going to make this a brawl of all sorts. I think Tim Means is going to be down for a brawl. And I think we're going to see if Matt Brown still has enough gas in the tank to make a run at the title, because we've been hoping for him. I've been hoping for him to get a title shot for a long time, right? And Matt Brown, I mean, we look at his record. The last few fights that he's had, he's lost 2 in a row, just like Nick was saying, against Hendricks and Lawler. But then he had a pretty long winning streak. Wins against Stephen Thompson, Mike Swig, Jordan Mean, Mike Pyle, Eric Silva. So Matt Brown's no pushover. Tim Means is coming up on his own. What do you think about this fight, Jesse?
I think the problem is here that I think we're looking at Tim Means streaking right now. 4 wins in a row. Great wins. Good fighter. The problem here is look at the names that he beat. Does anybody know who those guys are?
I do.
Other than Diego Lima, no. Diego Lima, no. And that's I was a Lima defender forever until he lost that fight. And I was like, God damn it, dude.
And exactly, look at that. Like Lima, guy that has a big name, has a brother that's just crazy good fighter. Couldn't get it done in the UFC. All right. I mean, look at those guys that he lost to. It's not good. To me, this is just a step up where he's just going to slip up. I mean, Matt Brown has been in there with some of the best guys in the division. And the only, like we just said, the 2 losses, Hendricks, Lawler. Those 2 guys, I mean, I'm not a fan of Hendricks anymore. I call him Crybaby Hendricks. But, I mean, I just think Matt Brown here is just going to take this fight, just beat him up, grind him, just beat him down. And it sucks because I really like Means as a fighter. But it's just, I don't think he's got the wins under his belt here that show me that he's an evolving fighter, So that's how I see it. I mean, I feel bad for Means here because he's probably going to get punched in the face a lot and probably get bloodied up in this general area here. And, he's going to have a rough night.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I got Matt Brown winning this fight. I think he's going to be one of those guys. He's just going to grind Tim Means so bad that he's going to break Tim Means' will. And then I think he finishes him in the last round. But, I mean, I'm picking Matt Brown as well. All right, real quick, before we move on, Twitter is kind of, and I have to say this shit because it wasn't just 1 or 2 people or 3 people talking about it. It's a lot of people talking about it right now. There's a rumor, and I have to say it's strictly a rumor. Not at all verified by anybody at all, okay? So don't run to your blog and start typing up, oh, so-and-so accused of whatever the fuck, okay? And nothing's happened. It's a rumor that an Irish fighter on the card has tested positive in a pre-fight test. It's a rumor. But people are throwing out McGregor's name like it's easy to do, okay? So, again, rumor that one of the Irish guys tested positive, okay? Rumor, people are sticking McGregor's name in there because obviously he's a polarizing guy. But before we move on in the card, Jesse, what would it mean if McGregor tested positive for some shit?
That would mean the end of a lot of things. I mean, it'd be devastating. Everything that they put into his any of his fights, pretty much, going to Ireland, all that stuff, it'd probably all go away in one single sweep. So it'd be bad for sure.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Nick?
Please tell me if it's gonna be, if it's Since you said it's a rumor, if it's true, you better tell me before I press buy on my pay-per-view because I will be in the bar afterwards if that is true. Um, that would kill the train automatically. But damn, I kind of hope. Honestly, you know what? Just to add fuel to the fire, I kind of hope it's true. I really hope it's true because fuck it, I want it to be true. Just so Fred can shave his beard because of disqualification and everything.
Oh,
So
Fred would be destroyed on Twitter if that shit was true. He will be massacred on Twitter. But again, just a rumor.
It is
coming
rumor.
Up from, just a rumor coming up from certain people. A bunch of people, even Front Row Brian has no idea about the rumor. This is what he said on his Twitter. He has no idea that he hasn't heard the rumor yet. But everybody else talking about it. So it could be complete bullshit, and I hope it's complete bullshit. I really do. All right, so
it's sad because I went to Front Row Brian too. I was like, what's he saying? Because honestly,
that's the guy you gotta go to.
The stuff that he comes out with is usually true. So
yeah, usually. And then Helwani picks it up, reports it 3 days later as breaking news. Right? That's kind of what that guy does. So, all right. So your Fox Sports 1 prelims are at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and your main card starts 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. First fight on the main card, which I argue could have been put in the prelims, and you could have bumped up Matt Brown if you wanted to. But the first fight, Brad Pickett against Thomas Almeida, 15 and 14 respectively ranked. Almeida undefeated in his career. Brad Pickett has a 2-fight losing streak against Ian McCall and Chico Camus. Jesse, what do you think about this fight, and how do you see it going?
Oh, man. You threw me off with that. God, like that would be terrible. But
yeah, it would be bad.
here, the problem here is that I like Brad Pickett. He's an exciting fighter. That guy just he likes to put on a show. But Almeida here, undefeated. I mean, you can't deal with that. You can't really mess with the kind of record that he's put up. 19-0. He's got power to knock people out. He's got the submission game down. I think it's just going to be a bad night for Brad Pickett here. He's hittable. He's been knocked out. He's been submitted. I think it's just going to be one of those fights where, Brad Pickett's going to come in with his hat, try to look cool, get knocked out, and that's about it.
Yeah, it'll be Brad Pickett with the fedora all the way down to the cage, man. And here's the thing. I think Thomas Almeida is just too much for Brad Pickett. I think he knocks out Brad Pickett. Even if Brad Pickett does have one-punch KO power, Almeida has, wins against Tim Gorman and against Yves Javon, but he take care of Javon. So it's going to be an interesting fight. Like I said, I wish it wasn't kicking off the main card, but it is. I'm taking Almeida to win this fight. What do you think, Nick?
I'm taking Almeida to win this fight, too. His last fight against Yves shocked the hell out of me watching that fight. I thought Yves was going to end up grinding out a win or just, like, defending himself. No, he got dropped, dirty, like, nasty. Like, no. So I'm going to go with Thomas Almeida on this one. I think Brad Pickett, yes, his one punch, but that's it. That's all he's going to land is one punch, and he's going to end up getting dropped.
All right, you heard it here from Nick. He's gonna get one punch and then get dropped. All right, moving on here to the next fight. Another one of the SBG guys, Gunnar Nelson, number 15 ranked welterweight, taking on Brandon Thatch, who has he made his return to the UFC against Benson Henderson, who moved up for 155 and lost. So it was a weird loss for Thatch, but it basically taught him you need to learn some grappling, dude. You need to learn some jiu-jitsu. But now he gets to take on Gunnar Nelson, who is not a pushover whatsoever. This, to me, looks like a very exciting fight, as long as Nelson doesn't make it, kind of boring. So that's just my take on it. Nick, what do you think about this fight? Brandon Thatch, Gunnar Nelson, who wins and how?
I like Brandon Thatch a lot, and I like Gunnar Nelson, but I think Brandon Thatch going to take it. He, like you said, he got a short notice fight against Ben Henderson, and he held his own for a couple rounds. He did hold his own. He caught Ben Henderson a little while too with a couple punches and ended up hurting him, but he ended up getting submitted. But I think he's going to learn from that fight and come in and beat Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson is ranked number 15, but I don't think he's going to end up getting anywhere past that 15th rank. I think Brandon Thatch is going to end up taking a win here by somehow decision, something.
Yeah, and before his last fight, which was a loss to Rick Story, Gunnar Nelson was actually in a pretty nice win streak. Wins over DeMarcus Johnson, Jorge Santiago, Amari Akhmadov, Zach Cummings, and again, some of those names are who, but still. that loss to Rick Story was actually, in my opinion, a big one for Gunnar Nelson. But a win against Brandon Thatch, I think, would kind of erase that, because Brandon Thatch is a heavy puncher, fun, just a great fighter overall. His ground game seemed non-existent against Benson, but we'll see what improvements he's made. Jesse, what do you think about Gunnar Nelson against Brandon Thatch?
I think Thatch got exposed a little bit in his was Henderson his last fight?
Yeah,
it was, right?
Yeah, Brandon Thatch. Yeah, it was his last fight after coming back after 2 years away.
Yeah, I think he got exposed a little bit, that he's the explosive striker, but his ground game has a little bit to be desired still, and we all know that the Irish majority of them like to really grind out some wins here, and I think Gunnar is the type of person that's going to really use that to his advantage. Thatch, couldn't really defend it. A solid takedown, couldn't really get up off the ground, couldn't really do nothing on his back. So I think Nelson here is going to win this one, and he's just going to grind it out, wrestle his way to a boring victory, unfortunately. So, but hopefully Thatch makes it exciting. Hopefully he can keep it on the feet, but I think that's what's going to end up happening here, is Nelson's going to use what has been shown to work against Thatch and just use that to get this victory.
Yeah, so I'm taking Brandon Thatch as well. I think I'm taking Brandon Thatch to a knockout win. I think he catches Gunnar Nelson early and puts him to sleep and finally stops the overhyped train that is Gunnar Nelson. I think Nelson's overhyped as all hell, and I'm kind of done with him. So I hope Brandon Thatch gets a knockout win. I think he will, and that's gonna be it for that fight. Moving on here, the next fight, which will not look. I don't see any possible way this fight's boring. I just don't see it. Please, fight gods, make this fight go down like it's supposed to. Dennis Bermudez taking on Jeremy Stephens, two guys that like to throw down. Very powerful dudes, very powerful strikers. Jesse, what do you think about this fight?
Okay, so Bermudez to me is one of those guys that got a raw deal. He was on a 7-fight win streak and couldn't get even a whiff of a title shot. Yeah. I think he got screwed. But one of the things that I learned about him was that he's the type of weirdo guy that even once he lost, he stayed and just shadow boxed for hours and hours and hours, just trying to get some sort of improvement out of himself. So he took his last loss horribly bad. And I think that it's going to be an exciting fight, but I think Bermudez is going to come in and just storm Stephens. And the problem here for me is that Stephens is such a tough guy, and he's like one of those resilient fighters, that this fight's just going to be, this one's probably going to be fight of the night for sure, I think, because these two just tough guys, like to bang, and like you said, I don't think I've ever seen a Bermudez fight that was boring. I mean, I was there live when he fought against Matt Grice, and that fight was crazy. That was one of the craziest fight ever. So, I'm telling you guys right now, lock it in, Bermudez. He's gonna take this fight.
All right, your first lock-in pick of the night here with Jesse. Nick, what do you think about this fight? It's two guys. Jeremy Stephens is on a 2-fight losing streak. He's lost to Cub Swanson and Charles Oliveira. Not pushovers whatsoever, but those are losses. What do you think about this fight?
He lost to Cub Swanson. You said it right there. You already know how I feel about Cub Swanson. I don't think he's gonna end up winning this fight. Dennis Bermudez, in my opinion, he's way too fast for him. He's going to stay out of the pocket, and he's going to pick his punches. He's going to end up landing some punches or taking him down and trying to submit him. So I'm locking in my pick, and it's going to be Dennis Bermudez.
All right. Nick also locking in his pick, Dennis Bermudez, and I'm going to join them both. I think Dennis Bermudez is just too much for Mr. Stephens here. Too quick. His striking game is just too I don't know, just too defined. Jeremy Stephens isn't a wild, swing crazy puncher, but he can be duped into brawls. I think this isn't being a very long fight with both guys, both guys being very, very tough, but Stephens is gonna have to dig deep, very, very deep to beat Bermudez, and I don't think he's gonna be able to. I think Bermudez gets the finish, the knockout finish, probably second round. I think that's the way I see it. So, all right, moving on here to the next fight, the co-main event of the evening for the welterweight title. Champion Robbie Lawler, ruthless Robbie Lawler, defending against Rory McDonald, whose nickname has been changed to Red King. When the hell did that happen?
When the hell did that happen?
What does that mean? Anyone know? Do you guys know what Red King means?
Canada. Red flag.
Okay. All right. Well, hey. Anyway, so we all know about Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald. The first fight they had, Robbie was actually able to neutralize Rory's jab really, really well. It was kind of unprecedented that he was going to be able to do that because Rory and GSP are kind of jab-happy guys, right? And they train together. Rory kind of emulates GSP with a lot of things that he does, But Jesse, do you think Robbie's going to be able to stop that jab again, or do you think Rory has evolved so much that he should be able to find a different way to beat him?
Man, I have a couple of my friends are here in Vegas with me, my wife and everything, and they keep making fun of me because every time somebody asks me, I change my pick here. It's like you look at things and you look at their last fight and you just look at how Robbie Lawler has grown into such a different fighter. And the thing for me is that, like, could Rory beat some of the people that Lawler has beat the way he's beaten them? Maybe. But, like, there's always that question of, like, is it too soon for Rory? Has he just kind of, like, reached his plateau of how good he's going to get? Could he get better? Could he get GSP status? And I almost want to say maybe not, just because of the fact of some of his performances, where he probably could have won better, he could have looked better, but he just doesn't look as good sometimes. That being said, go with McDonald. McDonald, I think, has in his back pocket his head coach. That guy is a genius. He breaks everything down. He knows what needs to be done to win the fight. And I think Rory is the type of guy that listens and he learns from what his coach tells him. And I think that's what we're going to see tonight. I think we're going to see a little bit of a different Rory McDonald, a different game plan implemented to try and beat Robbie Lawler. It's not going to be easy. I think it's just not going to be an easy fight. This is one of those really tough picks for me.
Yeah. No, and I'm with you on. I think it's a really, really hard fight to pick, man. But I'm gonna pick my boy Robbie Lawler. I think Lawler has evolved to the point where he can figure out ways to win. He can find ways to win during the fight. Rory McDonald is a guy who goes in with a game plan and executes it brilliantly, to the point where it's almost scary. It's surgical. So it's kind of, to me, it goes down to that. It goes down to whether Rory comes in with a game plan that's just so precise and so spot on that he's able to just pick Robbie Lawler apart and win that belt, or is Robbie Lawler able to to use the first round to figure Rory out, and then figure him out and change his game plan and do what he needs to retain. And I think Robbie Lawler is able to do that. And so I'm gonna take my boy Robbie Lawler to retain his belt. Nick, what do you think about this fight?
See, I was the same way. I'm torn between it, but I don't know. There's something about Robbie Lawler that I'm liking right now. If you watch the embedded videos, if you watch the weigh-ins, he's just in that mindset. He's just like, hey, I don't care what anyone says about game plans or what he's going to do. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to do work, and I'm going to leave with my championship. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to go in there, he's going to do what he has to do, and he's going to take home his belt. I said it in the pocket that he already got a taste of the belt. He has the belt. He's not going to want to let that go. After all those years of hunting that belt and everything like that, I think that Robbie Lawler is going to leave with that championship. It's going to be a fantastic fight, though. It's not going to be finished. No one's going to finish each other. It's going to be a crazy fight, just like the first one. But I think Robbie Lawler is going to do it, and he's going to go home with his belt. But if you saw in the weigh-ins, you see Robbie Lawler is usually like a chill guy, man. He's usually just chill until he's in the cage. But during that weigh-in, he shoved Rory McDonald's hand out of his face. I think he's getting pissed off. He's just getting tired of it. Like, he just wants to get in there. So we'll see tonight that he's going to get in there and he's going to do work and he's going to leave with that belt.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on here to the main event of the evening. What's supposed to be Jose Aldo against Conor McGregor? Jose Aldo, obviously, with the broken ribs. Dana White says they're not broken. What the hell does Dana White know? I've seen X-rays before, and I know what X-ray looks like, and I definitely know what a fracture rib looks like. I've had them, so it's look, Jose Aldo's hurt. He's out. He's not fighting. Chad Mendes steps up. A lot of talk that Chad Mendes didn't have a short camp. That this was figured out. That he was put in place as kind of a standby when he signed his contract recently. Jesse, what do you think about that? And do you think, first of all, Jesse, do you think that Chad, was put on standby and that he did have a full camp? And two, how do you think this fight goes between him and the notorious Conor McGregor for the interim belt?
I almost think that what happened there was that too many people started looking at how little time Chad Mendes had, and they started betting Conor McGregor way too much. And I think they needed to throw something, someone needed to start a little bit of rumor, kind of get the wheels going in Chad Mendes' favor. And unfortunately, I don't think it worked. I keep saying that I looked at one fight specifically, the Chad Mendes against Jose Aldo fight. And I point to that fight specifically, the rematch, specifically because of one thing. Conor McGregor is pretty much a counterpuncher that looks for openings to really hurt you. And in that fight, the huge thing that I saw is Chad Mendes is really hittable. He's super hittable. He doesn't have a high guard, and when he goes for takedowns, he's a little klutzy with it, especially if he's trying to shoot in from a distance. He's not very good at those. Close range, up against the cage, probably one of the best. On the outside, not so good. And I think that's my problem here in this fight. Unless Chad just comes in, starts throwing, heavy hands and catches Conor, I think it's going to be a bad night for Chad here. I think he's going to get knocked out by Conor just because of the way he stands, the way he puts his hands, and the way he's just takes so much damage. So that's my pick. My pick is Conor here, and hopefully the terrible news that you were trying to break to us is not true, and we get no kind of craziness here, because man, if anything like that is true, I am gonna have to leave Vegas right now before it gets crazy over here.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the Irish fans will burn that shit down. So look, Conor McGregor. Here's the thing about Conor McGregor. My biggest question about Conor McGregor is, can he stop a takedown? He has he has the reach and the height on Chad very easily. I haven't used Chad Mendes' real nickname at all, because Mini Mendes sounds way too good to change to Money Mendes, and Money's kind of a douchey nickname anyway. So here's the thing. To me, it comes down to that. Can McGregor stop a takedown? We haven't seen him. I mean, we've seen him get taken down. We haven't seen him stuff a takedown from a high caliber wrestler like a Chad Mendes. So we're gonna find that out tonight. Nick, what do you think about this fight? Conor McGregor, Chad Mendes. Conor McGregor, more likely the better striker. Chad Mendes gonna have to look for openings for takedowns. Let's assume that he had a short fight camp, forget the fight camp stuff. But what do you think happens between Chad and Conor here? Will Chad get a takedown and end Conor on the ground, or will Conor kind of keep him away and find a shot to put him down with?
I think Conor has, I don't know, Conor's smart with it. I think he might do what you said, just stay away, try to pick his punches and everything like that. But then again, I don't know, he might come in just trying to make a statement like he likes to do. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Chad Mendes, man. I think Mendes is gonna do it. I think I'm more excited for this fight than the Aldo fight. I really am, because I wanted to see Conor against a wrestler. I think the wrestler can beat Conor. I think that's his poison, and we'll find that out tonight. I believe that the wrestler will, like I said in the pocket, he's gonna get taken down a couple times. Chad is gonna shoot in for a takedown, fake it, and hit him with that overhand right, and end up dropping Conor and taking him out. That's going to happen. If that doesn't happen, well, fuck it. Conor McGregor's your new mini whatever interim champion. But no, I think Chad Mendes is going to win this belt, and he's going to shock the world, and he's going to... Jesse, you better leave Vegas once that happens. You just go home, because there's going to be a riot tonight in Vegas, because Chad Mendes is your new champion.
You know what? Either way, whether Conor wins or loses, it's gonna get insane out there. Okay, if he wins, the Irish are gonna party they might actually run out of alcohol in Vegas. It might get insane. So, all right. Here's my thing. Here's my pick on this fight, and I have a hard time picking this fight for two reasons. One, I want Fred Kirby to shave his beard, so I want to easily pick Chad Mendes. I really do. The other side of me says Conor McGregor has been training and getting ready for this fight for a lot longer than Chad Mendes has. It's just for me it's a hard fight to pick. But I'm gonna take Chad Mendes, thinking that he's gonna find he's gonna find a way to get an opening for a takedown or at least pin him on the cage or something. But I'm just not. Look, that's not a confident pick for me. It really isn't. Conor McGregor could fucking come out and look, because I completely agree with Jesse when he says that Mendes is hittable, because he definitely fucking is. And then Mendes gets obsessed with the striking and completely forgets to try a takedown. Like, there'll be fights where Chad Mendes is so obsessed with throwing punches that he forgets, hey, I'm a wrestler. He fucking forgets that shit. So it's not a confident pick for me, man. I think for me it's up in the air. I'm gonna take Mendes just because I want Fred Kirby to lose. But I'm kind of like a fuck it, I don't know type of deal on this pick. So, but strictly because I want Fred Kirby to shave his face and that we can see him look like a 12-year-old again. That'd be fucking hilarious. But
I don't know. I think Chad Mendes has had a full camp. I think he was smart.
Think so?
If you're number one in that division and Aldo's about to fight and you know he's injury prone, you're training for that fight. You are always training for that fight, and I think he's had a full training camp for it. Like, I think that rumor's true. He's been doing it. And did you guys see the little scuffle with Conor and Uriah Faber?
Right. I was about to bring that up right at the very end of it, so let me just give the times real quick, and we'll talk about that. So that's going to be your pre-fight show. Again, early prelims, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Fox Sports 1 prelims, that's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific is your main card on pay-per-view. Again, I recommend you buy it with your friends and watch it at home because the bar's going to get crazy. Now, Conor McGregor, Uriah Faber. That, to me, looks staged as fuck. It did not look real at all to me. It bothered me to that point because, I mean, I don't know what was the point? I mean, Jesse, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I think it's basically two guys messing around. That's what it looked like to me. Two guys that know business is business, hype sells, and I think they know that if in fact Chad Mendes wins, and dear God, for my safety, I hope not. I think they kind of want to set up something for Conor to move up to 155, or move up to 155, bring Uriah in there, and have a nice little fight at a higher weight class. I think that's kind of that's what it looks like to me. It's like they're trying to set up something, kind of like a little Conor's going after all the Team Alpha Male guys. He's going to go for the leader of the Team Alpha Male guys. And like you said, I just wasn't sold on it. Did you see the tweet by Ben Askren? He said something about it was a good defense or something. It was a perfect defense for something else. I mean, like you said, it just didn't look. It didn't look like something that some websites won't name any names of a possible legendary fighter attached to it, but those are the ones that might report on it.
Oh, they did. They blew that shit up today. So, it's the okay. Ben Askren tweeted out, I don't know what people are talking about. Uriah Faber stuffed Notorious MMA, arm drag to double attempt, solid down block to underhook. Okay. Anyway, so Nick, you brought it up. What'd you think of it?
I didn't even think about the stage thing. I thought it was really just stupid and a little funny. Him calling short stuff, but I thought they were friends. Weren't they friends?
No, they're not.
No? Okay, because I thought I watched the interview with Uriah saying that, yeah, me and Conor used to we talk, we're like, okay, we're friends, but I don't know. I thought it was funny because I kind of wanted that to happen right then and there, but no, I thought it was funny.
All right, so did anything else happen? No. So again, the rumor that somebody tested positive is just a rumor. Don't blow this shit up. BJPen.com, do not make a freaking article on it, okay? Other blogs, do not make a freaking article on it.
If it's true, make it true within the next hour before I buy the pay-per-view.
Wait, what'd you say, Justin?
So is it the rumor came out that it was him specifically, or was it just that some Irish guy tested?
Both. Both came out, and then McGregor's name got thrown in. That's why I'm saying it's strictly a rumor. There's so much uncertainty with it. We don't know.
Because to me, that would almost seem like somebody that like would be a late notice replacement, would be more, you know, something like that, like someone, you know, maybe cutting weight, needing help to cut weight. You know, that seems like more of something that might happen because we've seen that all the time. You know, someone takes a diuretic or something to try and help them cut the weight, and then gets popped. You know, so I mean,
at the same time, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you know, not throwing one specific person under the bus, you know, because anybody could do that. But I'm saying, like, you know, you got to look at what's logical in a sense, because I mean, what are the rumors out there that Conor might make about $3 million in this fight for this fight?
I mean, a lot of that.
To lose that much hype and money, payday, and everything just to assure a victory, it's not worth it, in my opinion. I think Conor's smart enough to know that it's not worth it to get caught like that.
And speaking of Conor and the weight cut stuff, first of all, he cuts a lot of weight. But did you see his face close up at the weigh-ins and how bad he looked?
He looked like he was gonna die. You see how skinny that fool was?
Yeah. That's not. He's. I don't know. I mean, he's probably one of the ones that's gonna get affected really badly by those IV things, the IV ban, where he's probably most definitely gonna move up in weight.
What did you say, Nick?
Which, with the IV bags, I never thought about that. I was listening to the JRE saying about blood doping. I didn't think about that. That they think a lot of fighters are gonna, like, you'll see a lot of impact because of blood doping.
Yeah. I mean, I got a first-hand story of somebody in the UFC. Well, were in the UFC that basically was doing that before. You know, and that's basically the only way that they were able to really be able to perform at their highest peak. You know, so I mean, I don't think it's nothing that we haven't seen before. But that's the thing. I think it was on that podcast with Joe Rogan, saying that how are they going to stop that? Are they going to go into everybody's room and hide in there and then, you know, wait till see if someone busts out an IV? Like, it's going to be tough to stop that from happening. You know.
No, definitely agree with you. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen. What?
I don't know. I'm just reading on Twitter, and there's a lot going on around that.
About what? About
the test. Like, apparently they posted a real quote unquote test, the real test of it. I don't know. We'll find out probably within the next hour if it's true.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. During the card, keep your eyes on Twitter because shit might explode in the next. In fact, keep your eyes on Twitter because it might explode in the next 30 minutes. You never know. The way this shit happens, it might go crazy. So, all right, thanks, Jesse, for joining us straight out of Vegas. Enjoy the fights, enjoy your night, and get the hell out of Dodge if Chad wins. Nick, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate you coming on. Yeah. Have fun wherever you end up watching the fights, and I'll be at my buddy's house because we're going to just hang out together and buy cheap beer and shit. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your UFC 189 TUF 21 finale pre-fight show. You can follow Nick at NickXMicro. Jesse is at Spawat, that's SPWAT1993, over on Twitter. I'm at Elaw31. The page is at Crossroads MMA. Go to crossroadsmma.com for anything that you want. All the shows are on there. Fight videos, pre-fight, post-fight conferences, weigh-ins, all that stuff is on there. And yeah, thanks for joining us. You guys have a good day. Enjoy the fights tonight, and we'll catch you guys later.